I can't hear if Anesipo is talking. Can you hear me? Anyone? I think I can hear Xoli. Anesipo is unmuted, but I don't know if he or she is saying something. Xoli, try to speak again. How are you? Buse, how are you? Can any one of you hear me?
Good, and you?
I'm good. How are you? No, now I can't hear anymore. Puselezo, I heard you initially, but I don't know if you said anything else. Okay, I've changed my headset. Can anyone confirm if you can hear me? Hi, Gene. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. You can hear me now. I see you. I'm loud and clear.
Yes, sir.
Ah, perfect. Then there's a problem with Anesipo's mic because, like, I can see that they are muted, but I can't hear a thing from them. Can you see the slide that I'm sharing right now?
Yes.
Ah, perfect. All right. Good evening, everyone. Yes, Anne, how are you?
Hello, sir.
How are you?
I'm good, sir. Thanks. How are you?
I'm very well. So you are denying us this very beautiful voice. We've been saying Anne Sipo, Anne Ninjani Ntosgati, He Gunjani Kaya.
Uh,
Awuphenduli.
sorry, sir. I don't know what's wrong with my laptop. I literally had to change to my phone. I'm now using two devices. I think there's something wrong with my laptop. And yes, by
Oh
Indon.
no, hayi ndiyabulela xa uyenze yho iXhosa sam siphelile xa uyenze iplan
Yeah, yes, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, sure. All right, so we can start because I think we're only going to take an hour, and I'm sure you have seen since you are here, it means you have seen the links. Tomorrow we are not using this link, we're using the other one. And then and in research, yeah, someone must tell me, in research, when you are using qualitative, you choose your respondents or participants, and you choose a number. Is usually not a big number. They say you can choose that number until what happens. When do you stop interviewing your participant? Until what happens? Then you can stop. Anyone?
When the data is saturated.
Yes, when the data is saturated. So this one, Kanganadi, I can see some research guru here. I can see a doctorate here. Yeah, actually. So we will do these lessons, booster sessions, until we reach saturation. That's what we will do. So we've made links for 4 days: today, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday. But if we reach saturation before then we know we are happy, right? Yeah, okay. All right. No, let's start. Okay, thank you so much for joining. Last week you've done your training for the system, for those who are like me using it for the first time. And I hope that your devices are fine, they are well. You need to go in always just to go and check. I think there are some documents that you can view, just to play around with it. Mine is empty, I couldn't do anything. But yeah, well, I think we are getting ready. And I don't know if there's anything from anyone before we start, because today I just want us to look at the exam brief. The exam brief, it's so nice. It's so nice. It's so sweet. We're definitely going to use it to our advantage. And at least it brings the whole um, mountain into smaller chunks, so we know exactly where to go and look in terms of preparing for our exam, because it tells us under which learning unit what must we go and prepare on. So for this exam, don't forget, we will only be working on learning unit number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 4. Okay, 4 learning units. So we'll be doing 4 learning units, meaning it's 3 to 7. But then they gave us a bit of a direction for us to know under each learning unit what are we going to be preparing for. So this exam brief or guideline is divided into those learning units, and they say what they are asking us to prepare on is not the you shouldn't mistake that as the actual questions that will come. But with the small experience that I have regarding exam briefs, it's about that whole topic. And for example, if they give us two examples under the same topic, what you need to do is you need to go and read the other examples in that topics. Let's say there are 5 types of questions that you need to ask for a vision, to see if a vision is correct or is not. And they give us 2 examples. You need to read the other 3, because what they are telling us is they they're going to ask us questions based on those 5 as an example. Okay, so under each topic we're going to read and study and understand that whole information under that topic. If I hope I make sense, but I'm sure you will understand what I'm saying as we go. Okay, now the first issue that we need to look at here is the type of questions that are going to come out for us. The type of questions are here. Everything that has a tick is what we can expect. We're not going to define anything. No. We're not in second year, first year anymore. No definitions. Matching column, forget about that. We are big girls and big boys here. Multiple choice questions, forget. That is not at our level, right? Yeah, we are the gurus now. We're no longer dealing with that. Although I know one of you may be wishing, maybe you just one question, one yana. And but we're going to start with short questions. The short questions that need application and they need analysis of some sort and they need integration. So short questions, we can expect something like a 5-mark question, 7-mark, 8 marks, something closer to 10 marks or a little bit over that, meaning we might be asked to analyze a certain situation for those kind of marks. In here, under this, we're going to be looking at short definitions or explanations. Sometimes they like saying define this kind of, so it's not a definition of maybe they give you one word and then you tell us what that word means, not that kind of a definition. Yes, someone is unmuted. Do you want to ask something? No, okay. So these definitions are those kind of paragraphs, sort of. Maybe for 5 marks, explain to us what this means. So that is what short questions mean. Description, list, identify, categorize, differentiate, outline, discuss, highlight, name. So what this is talking about is, as we have seen in our assignments, they like giving us a statement, and under that statement they ask a question. For example, they give us a statement regarding planning or leading, and then they ask question that says, for example, based on or given the scenario about, how would you approach a situation such as this one, or how can an organization approach a situation such as this one? Those are those 3 marks, but then they say they may range from 2 marks. Yeah, but mainly 3, 5, 4, 7, and that falls under the short questions. Short to medium length questions in paragraphs, meaning this we can expect those 15 marks questions, 18 marks, 13 marks questions. I think question 1 may form the basis of question 1. Those little bit of a paragraph form of a definition. Then they also say that this guideline assists you in preparing for this, and then we're going to only be working with learning units 3 to 7, and they gave us 5 case studies. Under these 5 case studies, we need to read them all because one of them is going to be used. But remember, with a case study, we need to read a case study so we understand it. We understand what the case study is about. But but the case study will still be in the question paper. It helps us to read and understand all 5 of them now, so that by the time by the time you open, we don't waste a lot of time trying to read for understanding. So you just give yourself some few minutes to read, for just to remind yourself what this case study is about, because you would have read it several times already. It helps to understand the basics of a case study, because once the questions are being asked, you want to eliminate waste of time trying to go and find a particular example, that like to find something you've never seen before. It's better to know what is in the case study. By the time you define or you explain something, you already know what kind of an example you're going to make out of that case study. So it's very fruitful for you to know what exactly this case study is about. And they say, as you are reviewing, or yeah, these case studies or receiving before the exam, your preparation must therefore focus on these following factors: understanding and itemalize. Oh my way, who can say this? Wait for me. Internalizing frameworks, to internalize the frameworks that are being used in that case study. You read with a mindset of trying to look for frameworks. What exactly are the core factors that this case study is saying to us? Practicing application, not memorization. So here you're going to understand what the case study is about, and you're going to try and understand it from the application corner, or from the application perspective, to say, if a question such as this comes from this case study, what do I know about this product, if it's a product, about this company, um, who are the people here, what is the structure of this company, how big is it, and what are the operations of this case study? Is it a supply chain case study? Is it a technological issue case study? Is it a management issue? Is it leadership? Is it planning? Is it control? So you will get that glimpse once you look at that case study. You will get to understand what the case study is about. Is it about management theories? Is it about what? So you will get it from that sense. Evaluating strategic choices using evidence from the case study. We already know that we learned about strategic theories or strategic styles and strategic choices. Now, when you read that case study, you read again from the perspective of what are the strategies that this case study is talking about. What do you think that this case study is trying to say to us from all those aspects? Because the exam, they say, will assess the ability to interpret a complex organizational situation, apply strategic management theory appropriately, and justify your analysis with logic. Meaning, from the case study, they're going to ask us a question that resembles a situation that you're going to have to solve a problem. So, if I may ask you, did anyone have the opportunity to read any of the case studies? What have you learned from the case study? What can you tell us about the case study that you have read based on what this brief is telling us to look at? What is it that you have like you took home after reading any of these case studies from the perspectives that we just outlined here now? Anyone who went through any of the case studies, and what can you tell us about it? You haven't gone through them yet. No one. No, guys, I know you have read them 5 times already. Just tell us, man. Tell us what you have seen. What did you understand? The more you share, the more you grasp. You guys are stingy with information. Okay, you don't want to share with us. Okay, but please read the case studies based on what this brief is making us understand the importance of reading from the lens, these three types of lenses: understanding and internalizing frameworks, practicing application, not memorization of everything, evaluating strategic choices using evidence from the case. So you need to ask yourself questions before we see the actual questions. But when we go down, then we will understand what type of questions can we expect, because up there the brief is telling us that they're going to ask us short questions and short to medium term I mean medium-sized questions. So we know how the questions will come. So try to ask yourself questions. Tomorrow we will be looking at the past papers, so you can see just how they framework. I shared these papers with you. They are on ARC. Are they on ARC? Yes, on ARC. I did share them on ARC. Okay. When we prepare for this assessment, they say a useful way in which to prepare for this exam is to work through any questions or tasks included in the module, manual guide, and or prescribed textbook. When you go on ARC under content, they have some questions that are placed in there. These questions, they are so many. Under every theme, at the end, there are questions. So try and look at those questions just so you see the tone of the marker, or I mean the developer. Just, so they're saying it's useful to just check that kind of a tone, so you understand that the type of tone that we may expect here. This will enable you to assess your level of understanding of the content covered, as well as an opportunity to practice answering these questions. In our session number 3, we will just um, try to answer any question that we believe may be part of this. So we will have questions, session number 3, and then we will try and ask them. But we will start tomorrow with the old question papers, just to check our own understanding. To help you practice, here are some preparation tips per learning unit, followed by 5 case studies that they told us about. We will use one of those. So learning unit number 3, I'm sure you can remember, it was about strategic direction. Let me pack it here and check if we are still together so far. Are we still So far, Homozo is happy. Okay, there you go. Who else is happy? Nelisipi is happy. Roribua, Commander. There you go. All right. Learning unit number 3, strategic direction. Strategic direction is that part of management, senior management intention of intention that they spread into the organization for the organization to find a purpose that they need to follow strategically, long-term purpose to reach their long-term goals. That forms part of what a strategic intention is. Strategic intention came from that discussions that we have regarding long-term and the vision and the mission of the business. Where is the business heading to? What is our long-term goals and what are we trying to achieve? What do we want to sell out there for people to know us with? What kind of a brand are we? And how do we want to be seen out there? Okay. Here, you should be prepared to explain the importance of strategic direction. What is the strategic direction and why is it important? It's important because without direction, we are heading nowhere. We won't be able to reach anywhere. So we need to have a big goal, a big elephant, which we can break down into smaller pieces, meaning our everyday activities, day to day plans needs to help us into achieving our bigger plans. That is what the strategic intention is all about. Why organization needs clear direction in uncertain, dynamic environments. This is the work of our senior leaders, our executives. They need to give the organization direction, even though the road may not be clear and we may not all know how, the how part, but we need to know what we need to achieve. Where do we need to go? So a clear direction has to be visible for everyone to see and everyone to work towards. There's a reason for that. And here they say we need to find that reason and explain it under the theme of importance of strategic direction. Why? I'm sure in your head you can already formulate some answers of why would an organization need a strategic direction. Benefits, alignment, focus, consistency, and challenges, uncertainty, change, stakeholder tension. What are the benefits of strategic direction? This you need to write down like now. Once you get to once you get to write your notes, you need to write the benefits of strategic direction, and you need to write the importance of strategic direction, and you need to write the reasons why an organization needs one. The alignment, the benefits of aligning the organization into the strategic focus, and the focus and the consistency of the strategic intention, and what are the challenges that we may anticipate through the application of our path towards our strategic direction under the uncertainty, under change. If something is changing, how would our strategic intention or direction keep us going? Stakeholder tension, if something goes wrong, if things are not pulling together, if things are not working, how can the strategic intention help us to still be focused on what we are trying to achieve? Explain and distinguish between. Here we need to understand the difference between this. I think this may be one of those questions from where they said we may have not too long or some sort of a short definition, a small paragraph definition. I think that will come from here, because once they say explain and distinguish between this, then we can understand already that there may be questions that are directly aligned with us being able to understand the meaning of this, and we can actually formulate a direct distinction between all this. What is a strategic intent? You already wrote this. You're going to find meaning for it. What is a vision? Can you explain a vision for three marks? Something like 3 lines or 2 sentences or one long sentence. What exactly is a vision? Write this meaning down. Mission. What steps are we going to take in order for us to reach what we are trying to reach? And what are the values? What is it that we cannot do, and what can we do? What is it allow? What are we allowed to do? Who are we as an organization, and what are we being seen at? What is the perception out there regarding us as an organization? Do we have a brand image? What does it look like? And what are we priding ourselves with? We write that down. Evaluate the effectiveness of these elements in the case organization. Now we need to evaluate. Remember, don't forget this. Don't forget this. First, these are the first words that comes in every question. Explain, evaluate, distinguish, analyze, translate, all those. So be careful. Once a question comes like this, you already know I'm going to be discussing here. I'm not going to just write a one liner and expect 3 marks. I'm going to discuss. I can even give some few examples. That is the importance of this. Evaluate the effectiveness of these elements in the case organization. Are they clear and coherent? Are they future oriented or realistic? Do they guide actual decisions and behavior? All these elements in an organization. Is the mission clear? Are the values future oriented, or they are just short term? Are they realistic in terms of achievability? Can the organization actually achieve this? Do they guide actual decisions and behavior? So that is exactly where you need to understand these elements from. That is the perspective from which you need to pay attention to these elements. Anything that is about all these factors. Translate strategic direction into operational terms. Show how direction flows into objective measures, and actions. So, because we have a direction, we have a place where we need to go. Can that lead into the objectives that this business has? And do we have any KPIs, for example, that we can use to measure our progress and any actions that are happening or need to happen in order for us to get to that direction? Just so that you actually open up your mind and have broader factors that you can actually factor your planning from. This is exactly that. Demonstrate understanding of the balance scorecard. We remember the balance scorecard. I think this was in chapter 7, I think, as a translation mechanism, not as not a list of KPIs. So the balance scorecard is go and read it like thoroughly and understand what the balance scorecard is, and how can a balance scorecard be used to drive success into an organization and put an organization into a competitive advantage, not as a list of KPIs. This is good because it tells us from which side of mentality do we need to be for us to prepare. When we read the balance scorecard, we read it not to go and list, but we read it as a full package and understand how can that help us as a business to drive towards a competitive advantage. Okay. How to prepare using the case study. The case study that they will give us, what must we worry about now? Like I said earlier, when we're studying these case studies now, we need to identify explicit statements such as the mission, the vision, and the values, but also implicit signals. What else? What else may not be um, easily identified by reading this? And if you can see mission, you can see vision, you can know this one is explicit because this is it. But what is the mission driving at? Maybe that may not be written, but you can already see what the mission is trying to do. So that is a signal that the mission. So they are telling us that we need to read from that angle of saying, if there's a mission like this one in this, or if there's a vision like this in this case study, what does the case study tell us about this business? Where is this business trying to go? What does the organization claim it wants to achieve? That we need to know. If so, the organization will have statements that are out there for the public to see, that this is what we are trying to do. So that is a claim that we need to understand from that case study when we are studying it now. What does it actually prioritize in practice? Sometimes this is what they say, but this is what they do. So you need to find that difference if there is, and then jot it down so you can remember that. I remember in this case study, the business was trying to do this by the word, by in the book, this is what the book was saying, but this is what the actual actions were being, this is what they were trying to do by this is what they were trying to achieve by doing, but this is what they were trying to achieve by saying. We need to understand the difference. Okay. Evaluate alignment between strategic direction and observed actions that you could see from the case study. Are they preaching? Are they doing as they preach? designing or critiquing strategic objectives linked to the case study. So you need to be able to identify the objectives and decide whether the objectives are good or bad. Are they good enough to lead the organization to where the organization is trying to go? You need to formulate your own um, objective mindset when you see those. That is what learning unit number 3 is. Okay, learning unit number 4, strategic decision enablers. We remember the CIs and the BIs. Explain the strategic decision making process. We know most that process, you remember, from problem recognition, identifying what the problem is in the organization, to implementing, and finally reviewing if our implementation was good. Did we follow everything? All our processes are in order. Where did things go wrong or where did things go right? What can we change and what can we not change? What can we improve? That process, we need to know all of it. Emphasize the continuous and iterative nature of strategic decisions. Continuous and iterative. What is it that is moving along? What is it that is repetitive in this, in the strategic decisions that they are doing? And when you listen to these guides, they actually already lead you into a case study, because once you look at them and you go and you look at the case study, you can see that, no man, this is what was mentioned in that case study. So if there's a case study that is consistently aligned to this kind of wording here in this guide, I'm sure it can lead us into which case study is it going to be used for our exam. Evaluate factors influencing strategic decisions: environmental uncertainty, information quality, organizational structure, and culture. Those are the factors influencing how our decisions are built up for our strategy. Any strategy that we choose, we go back and we review these environmental uncertainties, information quality that we need to use as data for that decision to be made, organizational structure and culture. How are we as a people and how have we been doing things? And that leads us into knowing if we are on the right path or not. Distinguish between competitive intelligence, as CI, and business intelligence, BI. So they are reminding us that CI is based on external, market focused, competitor oriented. So CI deals with the market environment, and it helps us to gauge how are we how are we uh, there's a word that is escaping me now, but our performance, how is it compared to the competitor outside there in the market environment? How is our competitor? How are we competing? Are we doing well? Are we doing bad? So CI gathers that whole lot of data for us to use so that we can decide and decide well when we are engaging with our strategic decision. But BI deals with internal, data-driven, performance focused. What are we doing inside the micro environment? What do we have? What are our strengths? What are our do we see the opportunities that are outside there based on what we have inside of our organization? So BI deals with helps us to understand um, who are we, or do we know who we are as um, as an organization, and do we know if my slides are, yeah, do we know what we have in terms of our strength in order for us to know if we are ready for the challenges that are out there. Okay, so BI deals with us internally. Explain how people, processes, and technology enable strategic decisions. We wrote about this in one of our assignments. People, who are our stakeholders as people? Who are the personalities behind the tasks, behind the names, or behind the titles that we are given? There's a human being there. Who are these people? How do people enable a business to decide regarding their strategy? How do people come in and um, be 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 in the forefront of the decisions that we are making? How about processes, the way we move, the way we roll as a business? And how about the systems that we buy and we apply in our organization we use? How can they actually help us in deciding whether we are strategizing this way or that way? We wrote about this. Go back to that assignment, and to that discussion we had in the assignment, and analyze them again. Leadership and managerial judgment. How do these three help us? Intelligence system, analytics, dashboards, that is technology. Leadership and managerial judgment, this is where people come in. Decision speed versus decision quality trade-off. Then that is what that is that these are items that you can find under the processes. So how can these three help us, whether individually or together, help us maintain our decision making process? So when you read about these three, you read them based on these angles. This decision speed, intelligence system, leadership. So you need to understand how do they affect us in making the decisions. How to prepare using the case study. While analyzing the case study, you need to identify the following: who makes strategic decisions and why. That falls under people. Is it the director? Is it the CEO? Is it an office that uses everyone to decide? Then it will tell us the kind of leadership that is there. What data or intelligence is used or is missing or needs to be borne in mind? Then that goes into the kind of technology that the business is using. And then you also need to practice the following: critically evaluating the quality of information available. Is it useful? Is it timely? Those basics about the information. You need to understand how can a business do that? How can a business use the information well? Explaining how better decision enablers could improve strategy outcomes. We remember that decision enablers, are they 4? Are they 5? Please go and check and find a way of explaining how can they improve the strategic or strategy outcomes after we implement the strategy? How can this enable us, help us as a business? That is why I said earlier, this is very good. It's a straightforward way of planning. And if you just strategize your plan, your preparations based on this, and you go and you read exactly what they've highlighted here for us, I'm sure you'll get this. You'll get this right. You will hit this. You will hit this exam like nobody's business. I'm telling you. Learning unit number 5. Any questions so far before we check what learning unit number 5 has for us? Or is it useful so far? Is it pashash? Is it good? Or am I confusing you even worse? Yeah, sometimes I can confuse you even worse, thinking that you know what, I'm helping my people. Oh, only to find out that I'm making things worse now. Okay. Happiness, macro environment. The environment that speaks about the the issues that we can look, we can understand, but we cannot touch. You should be able to explain why microenvironment analysis is strategically important. Remember, in our assignment, they asked us to look at 5, and we explained them very nicely. Why the macro analysis is strategically important. There is not much you can do if you don't know what the macro environment holds for you as a business. Actually, you literally cannot make any long-term decisions, strategic decisions, if you don't know what the macro environment is looking like, because you're just going to get stranded. You're just going to make long-term intentions useless, because you're going to put budgets into strategies that are not going to work for you. Explain why macro environment analysis is strategically important under these factors. Opportunity identification. Can we see in a long term what opportunities are out there waiting for us? Risk anticipation. What can we anticipate as factors that can disrupt our movement, our writing? Long-term strategic positioning. Are we positioning ourselves for a niche market that is still interested in us, or the consumer behavior is shifting to something else? Can we be elastic and change our direction as well? That is what the macro environment is saying to us. Analyze and evaluate macro environmental forces, the personal, the political and legal, economic, socio-cultural, technological, environmental, ecological, global, demographic, as relevant. So what it is that each of these forces can do to affect our business. Some of these things may come from new governmental gazettes, or some legal changes. Alcohol usage, age usage has changed from 18 years to 21 years, things like that, for example. In the economy, right now, everything is expensive. Why? Because there was a political decision to disrupt the movement of supply chain. Socio-cultural, as a business, are we still satisfying the need of the customers that are buying from us? Or are they, is there any social cultural change or move? Remember the handbag issue example that we have made? Technologically, what is new, what is helping, what is working? Environmentally, what are the new laws that we need to know about? What are the new regulations? Moving from diesel to electric cars, moving from diesel 500 to diesel 50 to diesel 10, things like that. Global demographic, what is happening in the world is I saw an example from Japan that says Japan's population is going. People are just gone in Japan because families were never big. There are about 44, actually 4 million houses in Japan that don't have people that people that live in, because people are just gone and the population is aging. So that is another element example that you can make in terms of the changes that are happening out there, the demographic. In other countries like in South Africa, we have a lot and have a lot of visitors and the population is growing. But in Japan, houses are just sitting without people. Apply macro analysis meaningfully. Explain why specific factors matter more than others in terms of the macro. Remember, in our assignment, they said we need to categorize them. You started with the most important up to the least important being your fifth. So here, explain why you categorize them in that way. Avoid listing trends without strategic interpretation. So the same way you did in the assignment by categorizing your macro factors, you need to also remember categorization is personal. So your first element may be different from mine. So there's no wrong or right as long as you can explain why you think that is more important than the others. When you prepare using the case study, for the pre-released case study that we are seeing now, identify macro trends explicitly mentioned or clearly implied in each of these case studies. Practice explaining their strategic impact, not just describing them. So you're going to have to explain what you have seen and what you have observed regarding these elements. Prioritizing factors using your logic as a student, e.g., risk severity, likelihood, time horizons as examples of these macro factors. So you don't just need to define what the factors are, you need to be able to explain what they mean in that scenario that you would be seeing in that case study. Okay. Learning unit number 6, industry environment and competitive analysis. They say be ready to define and demarcate the industry correctly. How? By being able to distinguish between industry and market. We've spoken about this in one of our sessions. One of you spoke about electric cars, and we were saying yes, but you know what? Electric cars is actually a market, but it belongs to an automotive industry. So that is the kind of a nuance that you need to know. Is it a market or is it an industry? Okay, electric car itself is a market because this is where you will find people who wants to buy an electric car. There's a market for it. But it falls under what? It falls under the industry of automobiles. So that is an industry. So here they say we need to know the difference. Consider geographic and value chain boundaries. What what do we know about geographical impacts of our business, and what about the value chain boundaries? What do we know? What don't we know? Let's go and understand how this can be defined and know what they mean and understand how can they impact the business. And lastly, under learning unit number 6, they say we need to understand the Potter's 5 forces. We spoke about this not long ago in one of our sessions. Evaluate each force using case-specific evidence. Competition, risk of uh, replacement, or someone selling our product, or redoing our product, whichever way you can use. Explain implications for profitability and competition. We made an example about Toyota and Nissan the other day, that they can actually replicate the product very well. So all those 5 forces, read and understand them from the perspective of a scenario that we may find ourselves facing inside of a case study, and how can the business do to prevent the impact, or to eliminate it, or to think forward. When they design their product, can they have the competitors mindset in mind, just so that even if they try to replicate our product, it will take them longer until our clients and customers are happy with us, and they have brand loyalty, and the competitor may not gain too much power into the niche than us. And they said we also need to discuss key success factors, the KSFs or the KPS. We need to understand them. What are they? And we need to try and remember the importance of key success factors. We spoke about this in a session before the last. Okay. Where are we? Okay. Just as a reminder, short, not too long questions first, then short questions. We may expect that, but this is a repeat of what the first page said to us. But I need us to get into learning unit number 7. Where is our learning unit number 7? Or only up to learning unit number 6 here. Okay, I see we are missing learning unit number 7, but we can start with it tomorrow when we discuss our, here. Oh yeah, here. It's okay. We will look at it tomorrow when we start with our session. I don't want to guess that this is the correct one. Listing internal analysis. Nah, forget about it. Okay, so please, by the time we meet tomorrow, at least go through these case studies. They are not too long. Go through them. Let's try and remember them. We're going to discuss the case studies in our last session, but I want you, every day when we look at these questions, you remember what the case studies were about. You can already get the feeling of these questions may belong to this kind of a case study. At least you will have you can place your thinking in terms of which case study is going to come based on the type of questions and the guidelines that we have seen so far. Okay, so I think we can park it here for tonight. I hope that you got a sense of how the planning should be. We're going to repeat this somewhere, maybe on Wednesday, but you need to prepare based on what this document is saying, and then have an idea of, if you go through your notes, what are you looking for? Are you looking for a definition? Are you looking for an analysis? Are you looking for an idea of how things can shift if something like this happens? So today's session was just to show us that we need to have a perspective of um, how do we apply our mindset when we go and we prepare and we study for these topics. We don't just go and read, we read with a purpose. So this one, use this document to help you to refine your strategy yourself in what do I need to get out of what I'm reading today. And then at the same time, have one look at the case studies. Maybe on Thursday we will break them down, but tomorrow we are doing the few question papers just to get the feel of the how part of the questions that may come. And Wednesday, then we carry on until we reach saturation. All right. Right. I'm going to pack it here and open the floor. Check if there's anyone who can help us with something for today, in terms of your understanding of what we've covered so far today. Anyone? Lebogang? What's on your mind? Oh, Lebo is there. Yes, Lebo.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
Tomorrow we are attending a supply chain poster class. So I don't know how
Okay. Oh, what time is that?
starts 6:30
Oh,
until
half
8.
past until 8. Okay. And then Wednesday and Thursday and Friday?
We don't have anything.
Oh, what about the one for Thursday? Rudy, you said you're going to confirm for us if we're having a session for Thursday.
So Thursday we've got another class, so I think we can do Friday.
Oh, okay. So we can do Wednesday and Friday.
Yeah, if everybody's okay with Friday, but Thursday we've got corporate governance.
Ah, okay, perfect. No problem. So what we will do is on Wednesday we will do a class, and then Friday we do a class. That's super. Even if you can't all attend, we will definitely record the session, and then fine, man. It's okay. I'm sure we will go into the weekend, doing the final preparations. Come Monday, we will nail it, man. We will nail it. All right, thank you. Anyone else?
Hello, sir.
Hi, Lebron.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
You called my name. You know what is in my mind, you know? It's
Yeah.
a question. It's a
A
question.
question.
The question is this short comes on talking. These short questions, are they referring to introduction, body, and conclusion?
Which ones? The, sh- the
Those
short question.
short questions, yeah, they're referring to ask about the way we have to do it. It's supposed to be an introduction, body, conclusion.
No, no,
That's
okay.
what I just want to
The
understand that part.
okay. Lebron, that is for essay.
Okay. Oh,
Is that
okay.
is for essay. So essay has to be structured in that way. But when they say the short questions, they mean there are going to be questions, the standalone questions, like explain the mission of this company and what do you understand about it for 5 marks, something like that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes.
Not in the form of like I have to
No, not in that
explain
form.
it or
Not in
answer
that
it
form.
in the framework of okay.
No,
That's
but
fine.
what I see,
Thank you.
unless if there's a there's a miracle. What I'm seeing, what I'm reading from this guide, I'm not expecting an essay, to be honest, because I'm sure they would have guided us into. I don't think they can ambush us with an essay. Based on this, they didn't mention any of an essay happening. You know what? I doubt, man. I doubt. If they ambush
Okay,
us,
sir. Okay,
we
sir.
will
Yes.
kill them. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. We will meet again on Wednesday then. And on Wednesday, you use the Wednesday link, please. Otherwise, you'll get lost and wait for us the whole hour in the wrong link there. I should have created just one link, man. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Anyone else? Or are we super happy? Perfect. Thank you. See you on Wednesday.
Hello, sir.
Hi, hi.
So did you upload all the slides?
The all the slides.
Yeah, for all the learning units.
Yes, yes. For all the slides, you go under each learning unit and you go under each theme. You will find all the slides.
Oh, because I thought I'm not seeing learning unit 3.
Learning unit 3. You didn't find the
Yes.
slide for learning unit 3.
No.
Hmm.
Maybe my head is mixed up. I don't think I did.
Chef. Skis. But check in case you can't find anything. Do let me know.
All right, no, I will. Thank you.
Okay then. Bye.